Hey, what's good? This is your Playboy J De Niro. This is week 8 of 2012, and this is my 8th video. I told you I was going to do 52 videos this year since there are 52 weeks in the year. This week I'm going to show you how to mix a beat. Shout out to DJ Solo. This is for Solo. I sent him the Waves plugin bundle, and I'm going to show him how to use it. I've been a little under the weather, so if I look like shit, don't mind it. As you can see, I've been trying to eat the ramen noodles to keep a nigga up, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, this video is going to show you how to mix a beat and all that. Shout out to Tony, too. I'm about to send him this track after I mix it. I'm going to give a shout out to DJ Edition, Ralph White, all the Rap Attack DJs, college, internet, radio, satellite DJ that's been holding your Playboy down. In the last 2 months, I was number 4 and number 6 in the country. So, you know, I'm pretty happy about that. Also, shout out to Mac Rain. Shout out to Hassan the Golden Child. Stay tuned, and I'm going to show you how to mix this beat. This is video 8 of 2012. Oh, by the way, even though I'm under the weather, we got Jeremy Lin. I'm a New York Knicks fan, so you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty happy about that with J.R. Smith. Woo! Watch out for us, man. First thing I like to do is mute tracks. Before you mix any beat, the first thing you should do is mute everything except one particular sound that you're trying to get the mix of. And I'm going to do that now. You see my tracks are loaded up. I mute everything. I'm muting them as we speak. Now, I'm going to mute it and mix it sound by sound and put the EQ to every track the way I like, or compression or whatever I like on that track. I already named my tracks, as you can see, you know. As you can see that I have already named my tracks. If you look up here in the corner, you look closely, you know, I named my track right there. That's what you want to do. You want to name your track so you don't forget. Now, I'm going to play this sound, you know. And you hear that sound? That's a really good sound, you know. And I want to bring out the sound a little bit more, so I'm going to EQ it. How do I do that? I go to Insert. You see Inserts right there? Inserts, Equalizer. Let me make this bigger. Inserts, Equalizer, Sends Channel, Notepad, or whatever. I go to Insert. What I'm going to insert is, I'm going to find me an EQ. Don't mind my plugins. I got crazy plugins, so don't mind them. I like the Bluetooth EQs. I really like them. This sound has a lot of highs, so I'm going to do a little bit of mids and stuff. I'll bring up the bass on it a little bit. Right now, we're going back into mixing the tracks. And since I already did my EQ for that one, I like it, I'm going to go to my next track. I'll mute that, just to hear how it sounds with that. Now, click on that. I like to bring up the bass in that, so I'm going to use the SSL Waves plugin. I love the SSL. I'm going to use the SSL Stereo EQ. And, you know, that pops up. And now I have it right here. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. I'm going to turn up the bass. Just watch. Too much bass. You know what? Alright, that sounds a little better. Sometimes it's good to compress your tracks, but these sounds don't need no compression really. You know, I got these sounds are from my Korg legacy, so these sounds are really good. They don't really need no compression. I'm gonna mute these, and I'm gonna start with the lead sound. Oh, there we go. I like that right there. Alright, I'm gonna go back to my Bluetooth. I like that for the highs, because the Bluetooth bring out the highs like nobody else. And that's what I like right there. You wanna See, the highs is this. See this sound right here? It has a lot of high end. And what you want to do is, if you like it, you can bring down the high end or you can bring it up. I just made this sound to my particular taste, and I brought up most of the mids, some of the highs, but I also turned up the bass, and I left the low mids untouched. As you can see, the low mids right here, I left that untouched. It don't really need no low mids. I think that's perfect like that. Now I unmute this sound and I hear it with it. All right. Leveling has a lot to do with it. You gotta trust your ears when you're leveling. Now I'm gonna let my drums run. Drums are simple. You always want to compress your drums. I use this plugin right here, the URS plugins. That's what I do to compress my drums. I'm compressing my drums. As you notice, I turn my release all the way to 0. I turn my attack all the way to 0, and I turn my threshold. I move my threshold back a little bit. I don't want no gain on my drums because I'm gonna EQ it anyway. Now I'm gonna use the Solid State X Logic EQ, another SSL EQ, and we're gonna do the stereo EQ from there. Bring that up so you can see that. Drums are from 20 hertz to about 1K. Anything over 1K is too light. You know, it might be a tom or whatever. But look, you want to do something like 300 hertz right there. I'm in the 400, so I'm going to bring that down to 200 hertz. And I'm going to turn it up. Did you hear the difference in the drum? Let me solo the drum so you can hear it. Now, I got the EQ. I'm going to turn it off. You hear that? Now I'm going to turn the EQ back on that I just did on the drums. More presence, don't it? You know, the highs is not bad, but I like to turn down the highs. I like a little bassy drum. Now, I'm going to turn up some more. Yeah. Now, when you take off the EQ, you hear the regular drum. Now I'm going to put it back on. You hear that? A fuller sound, fuller hit. And that's what you want in your drums. I'm going to stop this and then we'll continue. I have my snare on mute. Now I'm unmuting my snare. You want to also compress your snares so your snares don't all go over your beat. Just try to compress them the best you can. I could use the SSL plugin for that, but I like to use the URS compression. I just love it. Just something about it that I just love, and I don't know. That's one of my favorite compressors to use besides the API. As you can see it, I turn the attack down. I turn the release down to 0. I turn up the threshold, and I play the sound. Now my compressor won't be doing anything it's not supposed to be doing, you know? Now, as you can hear my snare, I'm gonna EQ my snare with the solid state Logic EQ, the SSL. I also have the Neve, but I love the SSL a little bit better. I'm adding a little bass to my snare. I'm gonna bring it to like about 500. And turn up to 500 right there, and I'm going to go to the 200s and turn it up a little bit, just to give a little bass to my snare. Now, if you want to hide your snares out, you can hide it out, but I'm trying to do an old school track, so I'm trying to have my snares looking just right, you know? Now, that's a hard snare. Every snare, I believe, needs a reverb. Now, you want to right-click on your track, add an effects channel track, and you find the reverb. In this essence, I'm gonna use the waves, the wave reverb. I love the wave reverb. I think the reverb is amazing, so I use the reverb. Can you see that right there? Alright, I got the R verb. I'm select. I got the R verb coming up now, and to my send is on solo. Wow. It just came out on solo, but I got my plugins back up. So what I'm going to do is go down, select my R verb. I got my R verb up now, and I have my solo track up. So now that I have my R verb up, I like to bring down the early reverb. I like to bring down the reverb, and so I never leave it wet 100%. Never leave it wet 100%. I bring it down to about 60 to 50, depending on what type of beat it is. And now what do is I click on my snare track. I hope you saw me clicking on my snare track. I go down to sends, and I go down to send. Can you see sends? I click sends, and I click reverb. You hear that? Now it has some reverb in it. Without that, no reverb. Now it sounds a lot better. Now let me take the solos off and we'll... I'm going to do that for the rest of the tracks, and then I'm going to talk to you. Alright, we're back again. I just finished mixing the rest of my tracks. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to level them out. Leveling out has a lot to do with mixing besides EQ, compression, reverb, and special effects, you know, with sound effects. But this, I'm going to start with the solo track. I'm going to mute every other track and bring them in as I want to. And then we're going to hear it out once I'm done with it. I'm going to start out with just this, my main first track that I started with. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. I thought it was a little too loud, so bring that down just a little bit. Hope you can see that. Bring that down just a little bit enough so you can see it. Now, I'll bring down my bass. To make sure your levels sound right, you know. I'm listening for the right levels now. Now I'm bringing my kick. Basically, that's a good enough level to me. All I'm going to do now is, I hope you saw all that. I hope I... Now, all I really did to this track was I compressed the drums and some of the sounds. The drums, I really like to compress the drums because the more compact, the louder it sounds. The more you compact or compress a track, the louder it sounds. Like if you're watching TV and you know you're watching a show, and the show has one level, but when it goes to the commercials sound louder because the commercials are more compressed than the actual TV show that you're watching. So I like to compress my drums so they can always come out louder, but I still have an even balance on every sound, and try to get even balance on every frequency so you can hear the whole thing. One thing that's really important in mixing is, you know, if you don't have great room, you need a great monitors. And I recommend getting a great studio clock because that really has to do a lot with how your mixes come out. You know, go get an Antelope audio clock. If not, go get the Black Lion. A lot of people have the Apogee Big Ben, but you know, Big Ben is good, but it's not no Antelope audio. No. Anyway, so what I did with this track is I compressed the drums. I got them to an even balance. For drums, if you mix them, like I said, from 20 hertz, which is, you can't hear 20 hertz. The lowest that we can hear is 60 to 80 hertz as humans. up to about 1K, 1 kilohertz. And you don't want to go a little over that because then you'll put too much lightness in the drum and the drum won't have enough oomph. To get the good oomph, you want to raise when you EQ, and then you want to EQ it from 350. The 350 from right around 350 to about 2 or 180 will give enough, bottom to your kick drum. It will give enough bottom, and you always want to bring down all the high frequencies. Bring them all down, or unless you like some of the highs in your drum. If you bring all your high frequencies down, that would really just sound like a big drum. But you don't want to do that. I leave some of the high frequencies for the drum. And your snares, I like a little bass in my snares depending on the track. As you see, I raised up I put up the 400 hertz on my kick, on my snare. I put that up, and I kept the highs going. That's basically, it's pretty simple. It depends on what you're mixing. The sounds, if you have great sound, you got to know your frequency of your sound. You have to know what range your sound is going in. Like if you're going to mix a piano, or like the sounds that I was mixing, they had a lot of highs, but I knew I didn't want to cut out the highs because the highs gave it the character. So I just added a little bit of highs and some bass to it just to give it, like it felt like for it to marry into the track. And that's what you want to do, man. Just take practice. Just take your time, man. Look, listen. Hit me up. I'll let you play, boy. If you have any other questions about mixing solo, there you go. That's how just to mix a little something, something. If you need more detail, hit me up.